What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Coming to you live from Chase Center. Feels wrong that this one's over. What a game we had here at Chase Center as the Sacramento Kings outlast the Golden State Warriors 134-133 in is what is sure to be a game to be remembered for a very, very long time. There's a couple things you can call tonight. First and foremost, I mean, I think we all know what tonight is about.
Y'all know Harrison Barnes?
You know what the vibe is. Okay,
Y'all know Harrison Barnes?
It was Harrison Barnes night, y'all. This is. I know he had 32 the other day in Atlanta, or I'm sorry, against the Atlanta Hawks in Sacramento. But man, tonight's performance, a career high for HB, 39, and he poured it on all night long. It was not just some random burst. He came out from the start incredibly aggressive, and you know it's really, really welcome to see. I mean, HB has had a disappointing season, flat out. It's been really disappointing from the start. I mean, he had the 32-point game or 33-point game in game one, and we just really haven't seen that guy all year long. It's been a lot of ups and downs, and the downs were pretty low. And now we have two straight games of HB dropping over 30. Last year, he was a major contributor. I even didn't realize until I looked at the numbers the other day just how big of a contributor he was to this team. And you see how good it is when HB is contributing and keeping the machine going. You know, it might have came at the expense of some Malik Monk points. Monk really struggled tonight, 4 points. But I think, to get that kind of performance out of HB is just massive, just absolutely massive. And, of course, it comes against his former team in the Golden State Warriors, which has to feel just incredible, just absolutely so good. Come on, y'all. Let me hear it. Let me hear that. Let me hear the call. Just incredible. So shout out HB, who who knows if this is his last stretch with this team, but this is a really, really good send off if it is. I mean, if it's not, I mean, we'll welcome this. We will welcome this Harrison Barnes the rest of the year. He just looks like a completely different person. His aggressiveness is night and day, really. I mean, him looking for a shot. You saw in the fourth quarter down the stretch there, they ran like 2 or 3 ISOs in a row for HB in the post, and he knocked down 2 of them. That's just not a guy that we've seen all year long, and it's huge. It's just really big for Harrison to provide that level of offense. And, we do split the series with Golden State 2-2 after starting 0-2 against them. Really good to pick up the last 2 wins, the first one being in the in-season tournament, the last game of the in-season tournament group stage at Golden One Center. And, yes, he did. He got 39 tonight, Manny. I know it's hard to believe, but
I hope the world can see now what's really going on out here, because it's getting ridiculous.
Crazy. It's insane. And if you can't tell, I added a soundboard. So things are about to get crazy on these live streams moving forward. So what an anticlimactic ending as well. Like I said, it didn't even really feel like still doesn't feel like this one's over. I feel like I'm still sweating. For first off, shout out the Kings for getting the stop after getting that really easy bucket on the inbounds. Got the Sabonis dunk. It made me nervous. I can't lie to you. 24 seconds left. Golden State's got the ball, down 2, I think. Might have even – were they down 1? I think they might have even been down – they were down 1 at that point. And you got to know Steph Curry's going to try and take something. And for the Kings to lock him down the way they did, I feel like I'm getting my possessions. They got the stop. That's right. Sabonis got the stop. HB gets the rebound. He passes it to Herter. Man, and that's probably the guy you want out there. I don't think Malik was out on the court for that last sequence there. So getting Kevin Herter the ball is exactly what you're supposed to do. Thankfully, that did not come back to bite them. Up until that point, until Herter misses those last 2 free throws, the Kings were 16 of 17 from the line, with the only other miss being from Davion Mitchell. This was a very uncharacteristic game from them at the line. I mean, they shot the lights out, 52% from the field, 45% from 3, finished with 84% from the line. But like I said, had only missed 1 before that last moment there. it was too fitting. It was too fitting that that's how this game was ending after all that we had just went through. What was that in the Milwaukee game for it to come down to free throws and the Kings to lose it because of those missed free throws, and then for Kevin Huerter to get to the line with an opportunity to make it a 3-point game. He misses both to give the Warriors a chance to end this one, to send them home, or I guess send them continually packing to Dallas, and for the Kings to just lock in on Steph. I mean, that's, if anything, you could say that's the Kings learning from that preseason game where Steph took that, I don't know what it was, a 30-footer in the corner. You could say the Kings learned from that, because what happened before was they tried to set the pick and roll. I don't think they ended up switching, but they got Steph in single coverage, and Steph just shot it over Fox. This time, you saw Fox and I didn't see who the other person was, but chase Steph down to the three-point line and make sure that, hey, Steph Curry is not going to get an open or an easy look right now. And you saw Steph run. He tried to take a step back or a dribble between his legs to get some space, and that's where you saw him lose the ball. Good on De'Aaron for being up in his space and poking it free, and then the rest is history. So for this game to end without a shot at the end is criminal, especially with how it was played, an incredibly high pace, incredibly high scoring game, and just high level shot making. Again, HB was hitting some tough shots. He was hitting some fadeaways. It felt like a minute there, he was hitting every three he took. And in that first quarter, Steph was incredible. I think he had 18 points and 5 boards just in that first quarter. It looked like it was going to be a long night from the start, and really it was a long night because Dario Saric brought his game today. He hit all 4 of his triples. Jonathan Kuminga, y'all, he is a problem. You're seeing him develop right in front of your eyes. If you've seen the Warriors play their last couple games, this is now, I think, 5 straight games where Kuminga has scored over 20 points, and a lot of those have been off the bench. Kuminga had 31 tonight. I thought he was a problem. Just getting to the rim, it was an issue, that's he's the kind of guy who's been a problem for the Kings all year long, and it's great that, with Kuminga going off, absolutely, yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. With Kuminga playing so well, it's really good that HB brought what he did, so he can kind of negate what Kuminga was doing, and HB had a really big block on Kuminga. It was in that last possession there. Dang, wasn't liking Kevin Huerter tonight for sure. Because I liked Kevin's game tonight. He got a double-double, hit a couple threes, definitely was big on the boards. He had 4 assists as well. Crazy. But HB tonight.
This is ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
Insane. Just an insane performance. Let's see here. We're gonna move on to the Twitter portion of tonight, because tonight had a lot of highlights with the amount of scoring tonight. Just a lot of memorable plays, a lot of memorable moments, and let's dive into those. Let me get this all situated and ready. Who was y'all's? I mean, of course, HB's the MVP of everyone tonight. You're good. Of course, HB's the MVP for tonight, but man, no, I'm sure no one saw that one coming, huh? No way. There's a lot of things that you could have called for tonight. No way anyone saw another HB 32 or 30-plus game coming. And again, if this is legit, what a great addition for this Kings team. If HB can be a solid contributor, of course he's not going to be able to put up 30 every night, but if we can see some consistent 14 to 17, 18, maybe 20-point game, that's the kind of guy the Kings are looking for to some extent. Of course, they could still use some help on the defensive end, but having HB be a contributor, absolutely massive, because what they had, and I think it's a product of the fact that HB played so well, but looking at their bench scoring tonight, 22 bench points, that's not going to get it done. So it was really great that all the starters really brought it tonight. They're doing something on the court right now. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Interesting. Okay, well, the Warriors are doing some season ticket holder thing. So I'm going to just try and power through that. And, yeah, we're going to move on to the Twitter portion of tonight's game because what a freaking game it was. So, of course, tonight starts with HB. I mean, again, just after the 32-point performance, HB was aggressive, looking for a shot early, 3 for 3 from three in the first 5 minutes of this game. And you just, again, you knew it early. And I think that's a sign that this is probably something here to stay, that it might have been something that Mike Brown addressed in his locker room. It might have been hey, I know we haven't really looked Harrison's way a lot this year, but he was a really big piece of what made us good last year. Let's try and look for him. If we see the mismatch, I saw Pajemski on him a couple times, and they took advantage just about every time. HB's a big, strong guy, and he really uses his physicality and knows how to, just is really good with timing. And he's not necessarily the most stunning athlete out there, but he just really knows how to get guys off balance, and especially finishing around the rim. Again, just his strength is a really, really big asset. Of course, like I said, Steph Curry was absolutely ridiculous to start off tonight's game. 18 points in that first quarter, and it was scary. There was a moment where I wouldn't say it had shades of Game 7, but it looked like we were possibly in for a 50-point Steph Curry night. It was going to be no one else for the Warriors is going to have it, and Steph is just going to take 40 shots and just try and will his team to a victory on the second night of a back-to-back. Thankfully, we didn't have to see that. Steph still had a really good night, but ultimately really slowed down after that first quarter, and really didn't completely show out until the fourth. Big here, absolutely. Davion Mitchell came in, entered the game. His minutes have been super erratic, but him and HB to start this game really were the bright spots for the Kings, hitting threes. The Kings were on fire as a team from the perimeter. But, Davion, HB, and frankly Kevin Huerter to start this game were the biggest pieces, and that's really funny because obviously for those of you who don't pay too much attention to the trade or the rumor mill, but HB, Kevin Huerter, and Davion Mitchell are definitely the people who are brought up in trades by far the most when it comes to the Kings. So the fact that tonight, for a minute at least to start the game, they were the Kings' main reason for being in the game was definitely a bit ironic for sure. But it's great. It's great to see those guys having good performances with all that stuff going on, because that stuff is super tough to play with. I could not imagine just kind of having in your brain that, hey, tonight could be the last night that I play with this group of guys that I've grown to know and get comfortable with. And then, very much tomorrow I could be on a completely new team with brand new players in a brand new situation and have no idea how my season's going to go. So definitely shout out HB and Kevin mainly for pushing through that, but also Davion for dealing with that, but also dealing with just general inconsistency with his minutes. That's incredibly tough. And here's a great rebound from Davion too. Again, it's not just him scoring. Again, obviously his defense is his calling card, but if he's not going to be an elite offensive weapon, it's hustle plays like this. Look how he pushes the ball down the floor, looks for Keegan. There's no wasted dribbles, nothing. Just keeping the flow of the offense, and that's where, even though he's not an elite, playmaker, doesn't have exceptional vision or anything like that, this is how Davion can really play his role as a point guard in this offense with plays like that. De'Aaron Fox here, look at this block on Kuminga. This angle really doesn't do it justice, but he timed it perfecly. Kuminga again had himself a really great game. I think he's learning how to be really patient when he attacks the rim. I saw there was he got a really good foul on Kevin Huerter. You saw him get a couple and ones today as well. He's just really figuring out how to use his athleticism as a weapon. But De'Aaron is also a ridiculous athlete himself. So shout out De'Aaron for that. And while we're talking about De'Aaron Fox, how about this news that dropped during the game? Apparently, there is talks that De'Aaron Fox will launch his own signature shoe in fall 2024 with Curry brand. Of course, he signed with Stephen Curry. What was that, like a month or two ago? And a lot was talked about what that really meant, and it seems like De'Aaron is going to have a signature shoe in his future, so that should be really, really cool. I believe he's the first King to have a signature shoe. It's got to be since the C-Web Dada, because I don't think DeMarcus ever got his own actual signature shoe. So, and I know De'Aaron had a shoe come out with Nike, but I don't know if that would technically count as a signature shoe. So that's exciting. You will not catch me dead rocking some Currys, but that's really cool for De'Aaron. Maybe I'll buy a pair and just not wear them. But yeah, this man HB, y'all. Again, I got this soundboard working now, so
Y'all know Harrison Barnes?
I gotta get it flowing. I gotta get it flowing, man.
Who is that guy?
Who is this guy, man?
Who is that?
Who is he? Because I cannot figure it out.
Who is that
I
guy?
cannot, dude. Just all day, all night. He gave it to him, and it's got to feel good. Again, it's got to feel really good to come against this Warriors team, because he's got a lot of ill will, I think, built up, and it's got to be pretty cathartic, because after that playoff series, where in this very building in Game 3 he missed that possible game tying shot. He's got to feel like I've got a little something for these guys at all times. So shout out HB for just an amazing game. And how about this? How about this from Keegan Murray? I can't lie here. I definitely thought he was going to get swatted. He's really struggled just throughout his career to figure out how to finish in these kind of situations. But this is what he worked on all summer long with De'Aaron Fox, and this is just development from Keegan. Even if it's not the prettiest Euro step, his ability to just kind of work through. Whoops, excuse me, as I'm still trying to figure out this bookmark thing. It's a bit of a mess, but as he's trying to figure out and develop, this is going to be just big for him, is figuring out how to finish in traffic. It's not the prettiest thing, but it's a step forward for Keegan. So, again, I know I have this sound from De'Aaron, apparently told a lot. So shout out Keegan for, again, development. And it's just, it's baby steps here. So we're going to just get a nice bag. And absolutely, my guy Frankie, who's sitting right next to me anyways, he said, at this point, Kings Warriors is must-see TV. That's why they got it on Rivals Week. Probably should have been on Christmas Day as well. But this is, if the Warriors at this point, it's the Warriors who have to hold up their end of the bargain moving forward. This could be really, really fun. Even if the Warriors are going to struggle like they are this season, if they can still bring their A games to the Kings every single time, this is going to be worth the price of admission every time. And honestly, they should try and make this national TV whenever they can. Here's a possession from Davion here. Actually, I'm going to run this back here. Watch how Davion, he tries to take a charge here. It's arguably a charge. Of course, it's a little bit of a sell job, but look how he doesn't give up on the play. Chases Clay here, gets him in the post. We have seen this movie before, ladies and gentlemen. This is how Klay Thompson pretty much, it was more around here, but Klay Thompson hit a shot over Davion Mitchell to win the game in Golden State. That was like the first month of the season. So to see Davion just pull the chair from him was masterful. And I think I have an angle from our good buddy Matt George here somewhere. Apparently I don't, but there's a really good angle that Matt has of him pulling the chair. This was a little controversial. This Draymond Green, a lot of people rooting for that man's downfall, but he actually did a really good job of keeping his cool all night tonight. Seemed like he was dapping people up. I saw him pick a person or two up off the ground. It's just little tiny things like that, but Draymond definitely seems like he's at least for the time being, been a man of his word. This is from myself. I thought this was a great nugget here. HB with back-to-back 30-point performances. Just the fourth time this season HB has finished with 20 or more points in a game. That number shocked me, and I looked it up. I think Brendan brought it to my attention. But last year, HB had, I believe, 20 games in which he finished over 20 points, and for it to only be at 4 this year, I think is a great indication of just of just how weird or how less impactful HB has been this year. It's of course, you can impact the game in other ways than scoring, but the fact that HB was so involved as a scorer last year and just this year, again, just he's rarely had to reach over 20 points or had the opportunity, I guess, to reach over 20 points. A lot of those opportunities have gone to Keegan Murray. A lot of those opportunities you see Malik Monk having a much improved year. It's just kind of the way that it goes. It's a numbers game sometimes, and sometimes if you see on a night like tonight, like HB takes 24 shots, Malik Monk only ends up taking 5. That's not the normal balance of things, but HB has had to sacrifice a lot this year, and I think that's become really apparent in these last 2 games. Really evident that HB has really taken a back seat, and it's definitely really hard to do that. I'm sure it's a little bit easier right after you sign a new contract, but I have a tough time believing that HB did sign that new contract with the understanding that he was going to take this much of a reduced role. So I think it's a really good sign that he's put these 2 performances together. A, he's still got the capabilities of putting games like this together, but B, it also, again, kind of shows that it was never fully about his ability and more so just about his opportunity and maybe his mentality or his approach to all these games. So I'm not going to question it too much. I'm just going to welcome the fact that HB is cooking. And here's how we ended the third with HB. Oh my gosh, this I need a mouse is the real problem. With HB cooking from the corner, 32 points. Again, his career high was 36 going into it. So for him to have 32 heading into the fourth, it felt like the Kings had to get the win today. Just for HB, it felt like they needed to get it done because but man, this is where his IQ, his overall IQ, basketball IQ just doesn't really show because Kessler Edwards is not a threat from out there at all. There's no reason. You can see Draymond here pointing, saying, go to the corner, go to the corner. I'm pretty sure. Whoops, excuse me. Sorry, I have to do no audio. I was told that I got copyright struck the other day because we had audio coming through. So we got to make sure we try and limit that. But you see Draymond try and fly out to that corner too late because HB hit it. And again, my guy Frankie Cardicelli here putting out just the best information here. This is a really, really tough one to find. HB had 67 points over the past 2 games, and this is not even what he finished with. What did he end up finishing with between 2 games? 39 and 32, 71 points through 2 games. That's the most that he scored in his entire career, 11-year career in a 2-game span. And again, hits his career high 39 tonight. So it's been a special streak. And I think Frankie even told me when HB hit his career high 36, it was during his rookie season. So he's been sitting on that number for a while. And again, for him to put back-to-back 30-plus performances, it's incredibly rare. So I'm glad, and I'm also glad that the Kings are 2-0 in those games, because again, it would really suck to just waste those games and waste those performances from HB. This is crazy. This is really the moment where the game shifted, in my opinion. De'Aaron Fox hitting down, and that's ultimate confidence there. I think he points at Steve Kerr, but again, this to me is where all the standout plays to me. We are going to wait out for this Coach Brown audio. I'm pretty sure it should be dropping pretty soon here, and I'm going to also check Twitter and see if I missed anything else that dropped, if there's any stats or historical nuggets that matter for tonight. But of course, again, the big story from tonight, HB's back. HB's back. And yeah, I'm seeing Kings Muse here pointing out Kevon Looney, really quiet game after just absolutely destroying the Kings in the postseason. Looney tonight, 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists in 16 minutes, 2 of 2. Hopefully the monkey is off their back. Hopefully Kevon Looney is no longer an issue, because he was pretty much the second biggest reason, I would say, why the Kings lost that playoff series last year. So good that Looney, A, didn't have a good game, and B, Sabonis has a really efficient night. 18 points, 13 assists. The fact that he was able, Sabonis in the playoffs, really the assist was the major stat that was down for him. He really struggled to get other guys involved and get other guys open. And other guys, frankly, also just kind of missed their shots. So big for Sabonis to kind of hopefully get this Warrior demon out of his mind, and hopefully there's no mental obstacles when it comes to this team, because they've just been in some wars, man. They have been in some battles between these two guys, and so there's got to be just ultimate comfort when it comes to playing against each other at this point. Love it, just absolutely love it. You know what? And I got this too.
We deserve this win.
You're right. You are right, Nemanja. Man, incredible. I'm seeing De'Aaron Fox at the podium. Of course, De'Aaron Fox spoke after they won. Sorry. Do y'all still want to hear about that? I know I promised after the last live stream that I would talk a lot about Podium Gate. I think at this point it's kind of washed, but if people want to, people still want to hear about it, I can definitely go into it. Again, just trying to check in social media here, seeing. Let's see if we can play. Ooh, it looks like De'Aaron. Oh, HB spoke with TNT crew after the game. That's interesting. Good moment for HB too. Again, like good for his trade value possibly. Getting the shine on national TV. Let's see here. All right, I'm gonna play some De'Aaron audio, and we're just gonna have to risk that possibly this man curses, but I literally don't know. But it's good. Oh, the Rob Perez one. Okay. All right, we're gonna play some. I'm hearing this is good audio here from De'Aaron. We're gonna play De'Aaron Fox in his post-game press conference here. This is about if this is a rivalry.
How they still don't really consider this a rivalry. Do you feel like these games is becoming more of a Northern California rivalry between you and the Warriors? Have you asked anybody from our team before? Have you read anything about anybody from our team calling it a rivalry? Who? Well, like I said, I've never called it a rivalry, so. Why would this be a rivalry? I haven't played that far from each other for 20 years. They never played each other in the playoffs. That's why it's trying to be considered a rivalry. Well, and you guys are playing better. I would say if we played the Clippers in the playoffs last year and we go to 7 games, it's probably considered the same thing because we played them 11 times in one season. So, I mean, just because the amount of games, I don't consider it a rivalry. No.
There you go. You have official wording. De'Aaron Fox does not believe that it is a rivalry. I think I for the most part agree with him. I think that there's elements of rivalry for sure. I mean, it's close enough. There's enough cross fan interaction where you might have office buildings where you have a good amount of Warrior fans and a good amount of Kings fans. Just in general, in friend groups, I feel like there's a couple Warrior fans and a couple Kings fans, and a lot of friend groups as well. I think there's elements of a rivalry, but if we're just talking strictly on the floor, have these two teams done enough or had enough significant games played against each other? I would say not yet. Like there's elements. They're trending in that direction, absolutely, but it's a first round playoff series. It's not, even like Kings Lakers, if I'm not mistaken, they met in the playoffs on 2 separate occasions, and then of course had tons of regular season games. It feels like they're another 7-game series away from this thing really being considered like a on the floor rivalry. But yes, absolutely. I don't think I've heard this before, but this is absolutely, it's a fan rivalry, because I think with the fans, it's very real. The fact that, the Warriors come into Golden One Center and take over, I shouldn't say take over, but I mean, they definitely infiltrate the building. It's a pretty good 40% split, I would say, on most nights. Not the playoff games, obviously, but during the regular season. So there's definitely something there. But, from De'Aaron's perspective, and absolutely from, I'm sure, a majority of the team, do they think about the Warriors more than they think about the Atlanta Hawks? Probably, but I don't know if they really are like, these guys just get under our skin. And there's also a lot of connective tissue in the organization, and not in a bad way. Like, I think HB is really the only one that has any sort of ill will towards anybody in the building, and I really think it's really just Draymond, from what I understand. So I don't think the players really think of it as a rivalry, and ultimately, I mean, if the players aren't going to consider it a rivalry, or I don't know. I think it's interesting because I also think it's ignorant to try and ignore the fact that I think these two teams definitely get the best out of each other. So I don't know what to say about that part, because Golden State has not played like this all season long. And frankly, even the Kings haven't played a game like this all season long. So, I hear them. I think I'll for now agree with them, but there's definitely elements, and we're definitely not far off if we're not there yet. So here's HB talking with Jared Greenberg in the post game with TNT here.
Nothing like getting a career high against the team that traded you away.
Feels good. We want to start this road trip off right, so I think for us to battle 48 minutes, that was huge.
You had 28 total points during Sacramento's 4-game losing streak. Coach Brown talked about you being more aggressive in the win against Atlanta. What has gotten into you the last 2 games?
Just trying to maximize opportunities. We feel like we have a good team. When the ball is moving, you want to take open. We feel confident about the guys we have in this locker room, so just going out every single night. Hopefully get some more wins, more convincing than this one, but I will take it.
How about De'Aaron? Does that show that you guys can, in big moments, play and tough? In year 12.
Wild for Jared Greenberg to open that up with how good does it feel to do it against the team that traded you. That's, as for sure. I mean, that's the question that everyone wants to know for sure. HB, I think, was caught off a little off guard with that, but did a good job being like, it's great. No, it's great. This is awesome. So there you go. There you have it. It is interesting. I like what Jared Greenberg pointed out there. This team, again, they didn't get a lot of stops tonight. Golden State 55% from the field, 51% from three. A lot of that was some high-level shot making, but in their defense, they got 2 stops. They did get 2 stops. The block was huge. I didn't love Golden State's possession there. I'm really surprised that they decided to try and shoot that ball so quick. It was a pretty decent look. I think they got Sabonis switched on to Kuminga, and Kuminga's definitely got the speed advantage there. It seemed like they probably should have aborted it because Kuminga, I think, started backing Sabonis down, and at that point, when you turn your back, you're kind of losing the biggest advantage you have. And then HB, to his credit, again, not just a big offensive night, but the fact that he comes over and gets the block on Kuminga there, that's huge. That's huge. And to add to HB's big game, that's a really good point. And then De'Aaron on that last play was incredible. I didn't even think about this. I keep forgetting that this game was on TNT, but that's a big moment. Like, that's one of those moments where that could change a narrative. Whether or not it's ultimately completely true or not, I think De'Aaron is definitely an improved defender this year. But having a big play like that, where it's a game-winning situation and you get a stop on national TV against the Warriors, that's the kind of thing that'll get people talking and get people saying things on podcasts that other people will hear, and that's how those kind of things spread, and that's a really, really big moment for this team, even though the Warriors are not the Warriors that they typically are. Oh, this dude just hit a half-court shot. That's crazy. Even though wow, that really distracted me. I think that's just a really big play for De'Aaron in that moment, and for this team in general. Again, even if it's just a proof of concept that, hey, you guys against the Warriors were able to make stops, let's try and pull that out in this game. I think it's big for confidence, and I think we're seeing hopefully the second half of this season can be what we learned from the lessons that we were taught in the first half of the season, because there was a lot of learning lessons from the beginning half of the season, whether it was getting blown out, the failures on back-to-backs, the random slump in the middle of the season. Hopefully just a lot was learned, and again, hopefully this back 41 games will be a little bit smoother, because even though the team does have the same record that they had last year, it just has not. The vibes have not been the same. Last year was super drama free. All the games felt happy and joyful and cheery, and the guys felt super connected, and I guess they still are super connected, but in the losses it just hasn't really shown. I don't know. There's a lot going on. I mean, with all the trade rumors and Kevin Huerter struggling, HB struggling, Davion falling out of the rotation, Mike Brown just being unclear on his rotations. There's just been a lot more stuff going on this year. So it's hopefully all behind them, and hopefully they do make a move at the deadline, because I think there's something here for this team. If you could say that they played poorly in the first half of the season and they still had the record they had, if you can say that things went about as bad as they could, and they still were able to have a 25-18 record, I think imagine what could happen if things start to go good, or if you make a trade and everything just kind of falls into place. I definitely think that there's the team's not far away from a breakthrough, and around this time last year is when that breakthrough happened. They went on a nice little 6-game win streak. I believe it was either right before the All-Star break or right after the All-Star break. So hopefully they can do a similar thing this year, even though their competition is tough. It does not get easy, and they're only on the first game of this 6-game road trip. So still a lot of work to do, and they fly over to Dallas tomorrow. They're flying over to Dallas, and that game will be on Saturday. So job ain't finished. Job definitely ain't finished for the Kings team. Hopefully it's just beginning. Hopefully they're just kind of collecting these good performances and trying to turn them into consistent play, because if you see Kevin Huerter knocking down shots now, that's huge. HB getting back into a rhythm obviously is huge. Keegan Murray hasn't really slipped in his production. He's still managed, even though the points haven't quite been as loud. He still contributed 14 points, hit a couple threes. He got to the free throw line a couple times, or I think he got to the free throw line once tonight. But Keegan just continuing to play, and then hopefully you can get Malik a little bit more involved than he was tonight. Trey Lyles, you can hopefully get a little bit more involved than he was tonight, and hopefully you can kind of add some more pieces. And I don't know if Davion's going to continue to be a piece of the rotation, but I thought he played well enough today to not completely just take him out. So Mike is definitely shortening up the rotation. Again, don't know why we saw Chris Duarte today. Don't know why we saw Kessler Edwards today. That was really random. Pretty much if you take out the random Duarte and Edwards minutes, Mike Brown went 8 deep. Kessler was good. He was okay. He shot a corner 3. He just kind of did what Kessler does. I mean, he gives defensive energy. Didn't really make many plays today. So it was maybe he was just kind of out there to give HB a breather. HB normally isn't playing 40 minutes, so maybe he just kind of needed a little bit more of a breather. And Duarte is just he's had a really weird season. He played 3 minutes in the first half, didn't put up a single shot, didn't put up a single stat. And then didn't check back in the second half. So that continues to be a bit of a mystery, and I think Mike Brown continues to search everywhere in his lineup for just anywhere to go on the bench. So that's definitely just an interesting development that continues to develop. And I feel like that, again, I don't know if they're going to make a big splash trade, but it feels like at the very least they could make, one of those on the edges moves. And, I know Sam Amick this morning on the morning show was talking about Dorian Finney-Smith and Royce O'Neal. Those are kind of the caliber of guys who it's like at the very least I can see this team bringing in a couple of those guys or maybe even just one of those guys and trying to figure out if they can just add to the rotation, just even if it can be at the expense, especially actually if it can be at the expense of not giving up a rotation piece and just kind of maybe, trading in some scraps for somebody else's fringe player. If you can get Duarte and, I don't know, JaVale McGee off for somebody else, or, if you maybe have to throw Davion Mitchell in there who's been in and out of the rotation to get somebody who's a little more solidified, I think that could be a really, really productive move. And you might not have to give up 10 first-round picks like what everybody else wants to do. So, you never know. And if you were to ask me, especially with HB playing well, I don't know what this does. I don't know if this makes it more likely HB is going to be traded. I don't know if it makes it significantly less likely he gets traded. I know that it's only good, though. I know that HB playing well is only a positive because, again, if he can contribute to this team, that'd be great. They can use some more forward production, but if this is just HB raising his value or showing his worth even a little bit more to just get teams to really commit and say, oh, no, like I thought he was washed. I was watching, games 2 through 40, and I was convinced that this guy had nothing left. But after watching these last 2 games, I can at least convince myself that, there's something there. They didn't really use him. So, I just think it's a positive regardless that HB is playing well. You can get something out of it. Let's see here. Ooh, interesting. We can get audio from Steve Kerr here about why he didn't call a timeout where the Warriors did scramble a bit, and you saw the turnover from Steph, obviously, but you also see Jonathan Kuminga get blocked here. So here's Steve Kerr on why he didn't call a timeout down the stretch.
You almost called timeout a couple times. Yeah. Why didn't you? And then, why didn't you?
Yeah, I trust, these guys have been together for so long. I really prefer the scramble situations at the end of games where a defense can't, get set up and make subs and, and so this is one that, it keeps you up at night, but we got to the picture we wanted. We got the Steph Draymond pick and roll at the top. We had good spacing. I thought maybe we were going to get Draymond on the roll with the spacing on either side and get a good shot because they doubled Steph. And but he didn't, he just couldn't get it to Draymond in that situation. They did a good job of doubling him. And when the play's over, then you're like, could have taken a timeout. And that's it's always a difficult decision down the stretch. But I've seen those guys convert in that situation a million times. And like I said, we got to the picture we wanted eventually, just didn't pan out.
That is interesting. So Steve Kerr pretty much saying he, in general, likes those scramble situations because, it makes sense. If you have Steph Curry and you got Draymond and you got Klay out there and those guys have been playing together for X amount of years, they know each other. And at that point, they probably have a really good idea of what Steve Kerr is going to draw up anyway. So I could understand. You don't want to give Mike Brown, who also probably has a pretty good idea of what Steve Kerr would want to run in that situation. You don't want to give him a timeout and an opportunity to draw up a defense. And frankly, the Kings are a garbage defensive team, so it's a pretty decent bet to say, let's get them in a scramble mode, and they probably won't have any idea what to do. Again, just shout out the Kings for stepping up in that moment, and I think they surprised Steve Kerr. It wouldn't surprise me. They surprised me. It wouldn't surprise me if they surprised Mike Brown as well, getting 2 stops, not 1, but 2 stops when they absolutely just had to have them. So just an incredible game, an absolutely incredible game, and just another chapter in this non-rivalry, but just a really, really fun collection of games. Let's call it that. And you know what? Let's let our friend Draymond tell us what our friends at home get for their efforts tonight.
Light the beam! Light it!
Yeah, tell him, buddy. So yeah, all those
Light the beam!
in Sacramento.
Light
I hope y'all are enjoying
Light the
that little
beam!
purple thing up
Light
there,
it!
and I hope to come see it soon, as we're about to take off here from Chase Center in San Francisco, as the Sacramento Kings take down the Golden State Warriors by a score of 134-133 on the Harrison Barnes night, on the trade machine night, if you will. What an exciting game. What an exciting game, and the beam is lit. Y'all have a fantastic night, and I will see y'all when's the next game? Saturday. See y'all Saturday after the Kings take on the Dallas Mavericks. See you then.